hopefully, that's not the kind of leadership we're going to demonstrate here tonight. You're going to be hearing next from, after the staff reports, you hear from the board of directors, and they're going to talk in detail about the process they've been following this year and arriving at some really important proposals that they're going to showcase. So I won't talk about those specifics, but I wanted to talk a bit about leadership and a certain 6-letter word. It has the power to excite, it has the power to paralyze, it has the power to overwhelm, and sometimes you get excited, paralyzed, and overwhelmed all at the same time. Who knows what that word is?
That's no big deal.
Budget, good one. No, not budget, but I like that. No, it's change. Yes. It's important to recognize that change poses opportunities and challenges, and both of those things are stressful. So if we go back to 1995, the roots of this organization were first planted. It was all about wanting to be the change we need to be for people. To help people with intellectual disabilities have a better life, and that's our passion. And I don't think we wavered from that, and we feel as strongly about that today as we did back then. I think what's changed a lot, and continues to evolve, is our understanding of how to achieve that goal. And that comes from what we've learned as a micro community of people that are here, many coming back year after year, and newcomers coming in with fresh enthusiasm. But also what we've learned by listening and learning about developments at other organizations and in other communities, not just Ottawa. So I wanted to quote from a fellow named Dr. Michael Kendrick, who's a researcher, author, and a speaker. He's probably best known for his views on systems change and people's underplanning. This is a comment I found out from my good friends at the Spectrum Society for Community Living. He was talking about this at a conference, and he said, agencies trying to create and sustain person-centered services are spectacularly more successful at it than those agencies who believe it is impossible and refuse to try. It's a small point, but I'd like to state it outright. So I'm sure some of you understand the point Dr. Kendrick is making, but there might be a different social commentator that can help make this point. Everyone recognize that gentleman? Very good. So, everyone remembers, right? When Luke was trying to get his spider out of the swamp, and he said, I'm trying. And Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. So, I think this is very similar to the message from Dr. Kendrick, which was, if we made the decision that people with intellectual disabilities should have person-centered services, and that's what we do. We don't try, we do it. It's not perfect, and we'll always get better. But there's more to be done than just person-centered services. So I've extended the quote, and what I've added there is person-centered services based in the community. And that's the change we need to be right now, and I'm going to try and explain why. The reality is, we can't claim we have person-centered services if we aren't actually treating those people like persons. When we separate, segregate, and limit life for people with intellectual disabilities, we're not offering them the same access to the community as other citizens. So we can't just be centered around them with services that we say they need. They need the same access to the community as every other citizen. So why is LiveWorkPlay claiming to be a leader in providing community-based services? Because, as Julie pointed out, a quick Google, there's already endless offerings of segregated and congregated programs and activities in this community. They're well established, they're well funded. Some of them have been available and basically unchanged in the 1970s. Yep, at the time when an appreciation for the value of people with intellectual disabilities as citizens was still something that was being debated. We're sure, just make them comfortable somewhere, and that's our responsibility as a society. We've worked really hard to develop a sense of community that we share here in this room tonight, at the same time recognizing our role is not to create dependencies that keep people from the community. Our role is to give people strength, give them skills, encouragement, support them to be successful with an authentic life in the community. So, there is no try, there's only do or do not, but it's not that easy to do. We have regulatory issues. There's a thing called the quality assurance measures. We have the requirements of the Provinces of Ontario Services and Supports to promote the social inclusion of persons with developmental disabilities Act, which came into effect in 2011. You can imagine how human-oriented something with the title that long can be. We have systems management requirements, like vacancy management protocols. We have to work with the Developmental Services Ontario Distributional Office, and we'll do all those things, and we'll do them well. So, some of the changes we're making is about improving how we support people to be in the community. Some of it's also responses to things that are required of us. So, balancing all those issues and moving forward. Another issue over the years has been something from a movie called Spinal Tap. Probably not everybody knows that movie, but it had to do with the gentleman who had a stereo system that went to 11. The point being, he could go one louder than everybody else. We won't worry about that as an incident. The point is, we've been doing a lot of going to 11 at LiveWorkPlay for the past decade or so, and we get a lot of feedback. People appreciate that as a work ethic. But the problem with that is when you're already at 11 and there's surprises and people's lives change and there's crises and you need to step it up a bit and help people maybe a bit more than they were expecting, you have nowhere to go if you're already at 11. So we got to dial it back a little bit, be careful about our commitments, be responsible, and make sure that some of you will have challenges this year and need that extra from us. We want to be ready to do that. Last year I had an opportunity to hear Dan Heath speak at a United Ottawa event. Great book. He and his brother wrote called Switch. How to change things when change is hard. So they started the research and they just started asking people, when you hear the word change, what do you think? And there was two answers. Change is hard and people hate change. Well, that's not a very positive response. And yet here we are changing things. Well, what they found was, even when the logical side of a person's brain recognizes, I need to change, it doesn't mean the emotional side is ready to go along with it. So it's about how do we line up both of those things. So, maybe over here, this young lady, maybe she got offered a new job. And not only does she pay more money, but she'll get to do more of what she likes to do. That's a big change, but logically and emotionally, she's really excited. Now, Pierre over here, he just went to the doctor because he hasn't been feeling well. The good news is, if he changes his diet, all his problems will go away. The bad news is, he likes the routine, and the doctor says, no more. So logically, he should be happy about the change he can cure his illness. Emotionally, is he still going to miss the routine? Yes. So, it's kind of the same thing, what we're trying to do as an agency and as a community. Our logical brain knows services should be about individuals' needs. We know people with intellectual disabilities should not be separated, segregated, excluded. But the emotional brain has a lot of concerns because people's lives are complicated. So the things that go on in real workplaces, in real homes, in real friendships, they're complicated. So it's a struggle. And we all share that struggle. It affects us in different ways. We're all affected. So if you look at the individual with a disability, they're expected to be a trailbreaker every day they go out in the community. Too often in human services, we don't recognize that. We just tell them the community's great, go out and enjoy it. No, it's not great. There's lots of challenges out there, lots of opportunities, but also you're continuously exposed to people who might not like people with disabilities. They're called bigots. They're out there. There's people who think people with disabilities should stay in their own classrooms, should stay in their own workshops, and be away from other people. Not be in my neighborhood, not be my neighbor, not be in my workplace, not be in my community center. So every person here with a disability who goes out faces that every day. And that's difficult. We have to acknowledge that and not pretend living in communities is easy. Parents and families. Dealing with the randomness of life in the community and all the challenges that brings. When your son or daughter has a real job, well, the company could downsize. Your son or daughter could be fired. There's people out there who don't know your son or daughter, don't appreciate them, decide they don't like them, just because I don't like people with disabilities. What's it like coming home and hearing home conversations? It's not easy. As a staff team, person-centered services in the community, what a tremendous loss of control over the daily experience of our work. So neat and tidy when you run a program from 9 to 4. There's my day, it's all I have, I got my coffee, my lunch, my coffee, boom. Simple. Community-based services, we can't control whether or not an employer decides to hire or fire somebody. We can't control whether or not a random stranger makes an insulting comment to someone on the bus and upsets them. We can't control whether or not a neighbor in someone's new home turns out to be a bigot. So these are all scary things for us as a staff to do. So as we've moved away from the way we used to do things, which was more about separating people from the rest of the community, and we phased out our day program, and we moved to promoting the life of the community with the same options for homework and social activities that everybody else enjoys. It's been hard on all of us, and change is hard, and sometimes we will hate it. But we're doing it. Take a look at those pictures. Okay? We're making it happen. There's Melissa at the worst, who spoke to 1,000 people. She said, yeah. She spoke to 1,000 people yesterday at the Aberdeen Pavilion at the United Way breakfast. It was unbelievable. We got Carolyn hanging out with Justin Trudeau, Rachel and Robin laughing so hard they almost blew into Morgan. Chris hosting a party at his new home. Paul was laughing his butt off at that baseball game. Peter's playing tennis with Mike and Linda. We got the whole Ottawa race weekend team over here. Ryan's cooking the meal. Kyle's moving in. Mike trusted Lucas enough to take him out in the ocean in a kayak. Emily's got her first paycheck from the works. And Linda and Maura said, no, you're not taking my hours route. And they succeeded. So, I just want to end a little note that I would like all of our members to stay seated, so all of our youth and adult members, and all the family and volunteers and everybody else. I think if we could do something that isn't done often enough and acknowledge these individuals as trailblazers by virtue of just going about their lives every day, that they overcome a lot of challenges and difficulties, and I would like to deliver them a standing ovation with your assistance. That's terrific, and